Greetings ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mengs and today I bring you another Fire Emblem character spotlights. This is probably my most requested one to date, so I hope you guys will be satisfied with it. Today we are taking a look at the noisy, annoying and loud, but also adorably cute cleric from Fire Emblem 7, Serra! Serra was born in Etruria, and judging by her manners, clothing and behavior, one would think she hails from a noble house, but this could not be farther away from the truth. In fact, Serra is an orphan. Though the fate of her parents is unknown, she was raised in a Saint Elimine monastery, and had quite the tragic childhood. While her past is mostly shrouded in mystery, we do learn a little bit through a few of her support conversations. Serra does not like to talk about her past, but we learn that she was badly neglected and possibly even mistreated as a child, though the extent of her abuse remains mostly unknown. Serra spent most of her childhood inside the monastery walls, studying the teachings of Saint Elimine, and upon completing her studies, she would eventually be assigned to enter service in House Ostia as a cleric. The church then hired a young Etrurian mage named Urk to escort her safely to her destination. On their way to Ostia, however, they ran into Lady Lindis of Caelin, who was on a quest to bring down the usurper Lundgren. Serra, who was eager to see the world and experience adventure, immediately made the decision to join them, much to Urk's dismay. After Lundgren was slain, Serra went on to travel to Castle Ostia, where she officially started her service as a cleric. The year after, when Hector rushed off to join Eliwood's band of knights, Lord Uther instructed that Serra, alongside Matthew and Oswin, would accompany Hector on his journey, and serve as his vassals. Serra would serve as a dutiful cleric on the journey, although she would often drive her companions mad with her constant chatter. Serra is a young girl in her mid-teens. She has a slender and elegant build. Her appearance is not that of your standard cleric. She wears a very tight-fitting dress that is obviously designed to draw attention rather than being comfortable or practical. She puts her pink hair up into two high pigtails and dresses quite elaborately, with shining colors and bright armaments. She is considered to be cute, even beautiful by some, though her obnoxious behavior quickly becomes the focal point of her character. Serra's personality is at a first glance that of a spoiled, attention-seeking brat. Many people draw parallels to Clarine from Binding Blade, but there is actually a lot more to Serra's personality than meets the eye. It is revealed that the reason why Serra is so loud and obnoxious is because she was neglected and overlooked as a child, and due to this she has always craved attention from those around her. In most of her support conversations, we see her often annoying another character and loudly craving their attention or admiration in one form or another. She is also very eager to have people look after her, or in her own words, become her servants. This is most likely because she was never really taken care of as a child and really just want people to look after her, though she has a very clumsy way of expressing it, and more often than not end up pushing people further away from her. Serra's fragile nature is revealed in a support conversation with Oswin, when after multiple attempts of getting the knight's attention, he snaps at her and tells her to shut up. This causes Serra to break down into tears. Oswin later apologizes and says he actually thinks she is a skilled healer, which causes her to practically burst into laughter and joy, behaving like it was the first time someone had ever given her compliments. Despite her loud demeanor and annoying habits, however, Serra does manage to eventually sway the heart of most men in the end, as she can end up with a total of 3 different partners. She does not have any children mentioned in Binding Blade, but we can trust she strived to give them a better childhood than the one she had. As a unit, Serra is the only cleric in the game, and one out of the 2 healers the player can initially choose between, the other one being Priscilla. But since Priscilla does not join until chapter 14, the player actually has very little choice whether to use Serra or not, at least in the early game, as she is literally the only healer available for quite some time. Furthermore, on Hector hard mode, it is advised to use both Serra and Priscilla, as one healer will have difficulties keeping up with the incoming damage. Due to this, Serra is pretty much considered a must for most playthroughs, and would be considered viable regardless of her stats, simply due to her ability to wield staves. Luckily for the player, Serra is actually a very competent unit. While she lacks mobility compared to Priscilla, her availability is fantastic, and she can be trained in Lynn's story mode to give her an extra bit of survivability when the player embarks on the main story. Serra sports amazing speed, luck and resistance, and while her base magic of 2 is kinda low, she quickly remedies this with a magic growth of 50%. Since she will only really be healing anyway, it is not like her low magic will be overly problematic, as she will be able to do her job just fine. Just give her the mend staff Priscilla comes equipped with if she's having difficulties topping off units. Once Serra starts to gain a few levels, her avoidance will become reliable enough to let her survive on the front lines, though you shouldn't push your luck too hard as she will go down pretty fast to a lucky hit. Leveling her up is also quite easy thanks to the torch staff, which you can spam the hell out of in chapter 18 to gain large amounts of experience. Serra has access to many extremely fast and viable supports, with many units considered good by the Fire Emblem community, and being a healer she is always close by to support them. Leveling up her supports quickly will make her that much better as a supporting unit, as her Thunder Affinity will boost their defense and avoidance, while also making them better in combat by raising their crit chance. If you're like me and don't hold back on the healing, even when characters may not exactly need it, Serra will probably be one of the first members of your group to hit level 20. You can promote her as early as chapter 17 if you manage to steal the guiding ring from the boss on the pirate ship, and this can definitely help out quite a bit as the upcoming chapters are considered pretty difficult, particularly on Hector hard mode, and having a healer that can also fight with light magic is pretty damn helpful, even if light magic itself is considered pretty garbage. Since Serra will have D rank in light magic after her promotion, it is advisable for the player to let someone else take over the healing, at least for a little while, as she gains 40 staff experience upon promotion, meaning she is only 30 experience points away from reaching S rank in staves. This is completely wasted on her, as there are no S rank staves in Blazing Sword, and there's no S rank bonus associated with staves either, whereas if she obtains an S rank in light magic, she will gain the awesome plus 5% bonus to hit and crits, which may not sound like a lot, but it sure ramps up the amounts of critical hits she will fire off in the late game, so it is definitely advised to grind if you want Serra to be the best unit she can possibly be. Obtaining a S rank in light magic on Serra may sound like quite the chore, as she will require a grand total of 250 points of weapon experience to reach her goal. However, this is actually not as difficult as it sounds. Keep in mind that landing a killing blow grants you twice the amount of weapon experience, so if you have Serra double an enemy with a normal lightning tome and kill them on the second hit, she will earn 3 points of weapon experience from that encounter. Once she acquires D rank in light magic, which only takes 30 points of weapon experience, she will be able to wield Shine Tomes. Shine Tomes, in addition to doing more damage, also grants 2 points of weapon experience per hit rather than 1. Due to this, Serra can ideally earn up to a total of 6 points of weapon experience per round of combats. Thanks to her amazing avoidance and the ability to always retaliate during the enemy phase, you can easily send Serra onto a defensive location like a fort or a mountain and have her deal with a large number of enemies all by herself, which will quickly raise her weapon rank. Once you obtain the S rank, she will be able to use the ultimate light tomes in the final chapter, which will make her a lot more useful. Serra is not without her weaknesses, however. Her insanely low constitution score of 5 after promotion means she will take a speed penalty just from wielding standard lightning and shine tomes, and may have difficulties doubling if her 40% speed growth didn't kick in properly. This can be fixed by giving her a body ring, but there are so many other units that benefits more from this item. A stat booster you could consider giving to Serra, however, is the Angelic Robe from Chapter 6 in Lynn's story. Since the robe cannot be saved for later, there are only a handful of characters who can use it, and while it may be feasible to give it to Lynn, Urk, or Matthew, Serra could actually benefit from it a great deal, as her low health and defense can put her at risk if her amazing avoidance betrays her. No matter how you look at it, at the end of the day, Serra is a really good unit, and she doesn't need stat boosters or items to serve her purpose. She is a competent healer that doesn't need a constant babysitter to be safe on the battlefield, and that alone is worth quite a lot. So take good care of her and her amazing pigtails, and she will serve you well. Thank you for watching this character spotlights. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want me to feature a character in a future episode, please post it in the comment section below. Just make sure you visit the playlist by clicking the link in the video description, as I may already have featured your favorite character. Either way, a like and a comment really helps out my channel a lot, so I would certainly appreciate it. Once again, thank you for watching, my name has been Mangs, and I'll see you next time.